4-inch? Okay.
Yeah, you can put 2 inches of base and then a top coat. And this is 6 inches of cement stabilized base. Identical plans and stuff as we did in phase 1. I mean, we could still bid the whole entire project,
Right.
and you could put the wordage in there, this is coming from half, that upon bids coming back, you know, they're over and above our funds, is we're gonna do this half and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Now, what are they charging us to put the bid package together?
I think it was it 50 something?
Yeah, their total, their fee is $59,000.
59,000. Yeah, 59,795. That's a big chunk of it right there.
They also have a contingency of $74,000 built in.
Yeah. That's pretty much standard, that's a percentage, that's industry standard. We're using the same, we didn't incur a CMJ fee, we used the same exact material testing as we did before, so we didn't have to incur that cost.
Like, what do you mean material testing, as far as the bore, the,
Well, they go out there and pull samples, how much cement we gotta put in the base and all that stuff.
right.
We were able to use phase 1's testing material samples, we didn't have to pull them again.
What are the costs, and I think we could go in there and bring down?
Well, they show in here, construction material testing of 13.7. On their professional fee, services fee summary.
Did you talk to Brian at all about that 59,000?
I haven't.
Well, we want,
I don't know where we got. I was looking to see what you could.
well, before we make a decision on this, I'd like to go ahead and move on to item D9. And we can come back to this item so we can discuss this other street repair over here. So it's consider an act on the various street repairs in the town of Hickory Creek. All right, let's go into that one right there, Jeffrey. So we're talking about,
Basically what this is concrete streets, same thing we've been facing for the last 5 years. Glenview subdivision, Lakeview subdivision as concrete panel road failures. Again, it goes back to some of them are above utilities and some of them aren't. I think it just goes back to poor inspection and not enough subgrade compaction and stabilization at the time of the design. I got quotes, but at the time I got these quotes, this was all, I drove every concrete street we had in town. This was the only failures that we had, and within about a 2-month period, we got several more that popped up. We got one over there on Deer Path, right in front of Richard Becker, 110, right in front of Richard Becker's old house. That's all the way across the full width of the road. We got another one right in front of Brian Gasperson's house that's almost full width across the road. And if you don't do anything, I mean, they're just, that one on Deer Path, I've been watching it, and every time we get a rain, it separates a little bit further, a little bit further. And unfortunately, there's no way to fix them but go in there and rip them out and then fix a sub base and then come back and re-pour the concrete. It's unfortunate that we're having to spend this kind of money this early, just like Kurt stated. You know, you shouldn't have to do this until you reach 12, 15-year mark. We've been doing this.
Some of these are only 6 or 7 years old.
And concrete streets will hold up for a long time if you get the right sub base underneath there. And every time we dug them out, even up on Ron Reagan, we had that failure up by Walmart. I remember that about 3 years ago. I mean, there wasn't nothing underneath there. You could drive a Bobcat off in it and it would, you buried it. The same way on Lake Hill Court that we did a couple years ago. You know, now we got another one. And I think that right there is on top of that big old 72-inch concrete culvert that's going underneath the road. I think it's settling out and that culvert's wanting to settle down. And that's what's making those panels fall out on Lake Hill Drive. Like I said before, unfortunately, there's no other way to fix it. There's been some tests where they went in there and they injected styrofoam, expanded foam underneath there. It's only about a 2 or 3 year fix, and then you're right back busting it out. Other than that, I don't know of any other experiments that's been taking place to try to fix those panels that are failing. Unfortunately, it's not real cheap to fix it because you got to go in there and saw cut them, because this is 8-inch thick concrete, and then bust it all out and redowel in and pour it, and then you got to have a 7-day cure before you can turn traffic on it. So.
Okay, so you got Wishman Lane and Easy Street. That's over in Lakewood Gardens, right?
Correct.
And you got,
And these other ones, the Robin's Nest and Chasewood and Easy Street, those are the asphalt flumes we looked at. That was part of the,
right.
we wanted to roll in to get those fixed. I went ahead and got them to give me a price on that as well. So not all this is concrete. Some of this is fixing some intersections, some bad intersections over in the Lakewood subdivision. And one of them is an asphalt flume going across there, and it's so short that whenever a load, even our patrol cars, the chargers will drag the ground when they go across that low flume right there. So we're wanting to widen that out and fix that flume.
That would be with concrete.
Correct.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Well, on the paving, if we took, you know, I hate to, go ahead.
And as far as the, you know, like the Easy Street and all them, it's not a must. If I per se, that may be the bell or the whistle, so you read me. I mean, it's not failing, you know, like the concrete street is, which is a must, because it's just gonna get worse. It's gonna get to where you're gonna have to cone it off, nobody can drive on the concrete streets. So if you wanted to do those first, that would be my priority, is doing the concrete streets.
So if we did Lakewood Gardens first, what was the total on that then? For all 3 of those?
One bid is $22,750.
29, so.
There's one bid, let's see what this one is.
Jeffrey, isn't that 29, 750 if you include the asphalt?
Well, you're just saying, we're just saying just the concrete right now.
Just-
Yeah, $22,750 for just concrete if you take out the asphalt there. And then Daniels Construction, $17,112. AWC, he's got his broke out every project. One is $32,772.60. That's asphalt. Yeah. So your cheapest bid is the Daniels Construction, $17,112. $6 per square foot. And like I said, those ones that aren't in here, you know, it's the one that's on Deer Path and it's not on here. You know, we can just, I don't know how we can do that, but it needs to be fixed as well.
Well, these were the priorities before that one came up, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we want to tackle those first. And I guess my thought is that I don't want to just go into just one neighborhood, even though I know landing the equipment costs money when you go from drop and go.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm looking out there, I see somebody from Lakewood Gardens, I see somebody from Harbor Road, I see somebody from Lakeview out there, actually 2 people from Lakeview. But, you know, and all of you have something that need to be fixed, you know what I mean? So what I'm thinking back, I hate to go back to D6, but could we not, instead of doing that $59,000 bid packet, could we not go ahead and say, you know what, we know the square footage for Lone Tree, that's the worst road over in Harbor Grove, go after that one, because we know everything we need to know, right? So we would have to pay the
He's not
59, maybe a
gonna, he's not
percentage.
gonna release me the plans unless we,
Well, we just pay him a percentage for that particular plan. So that road is 610 feet, I think is what it was, right? So he can just do the math on it and divide that out, so we don't have to pay the whole $59,000 up front for the whole thing, because we know we're not gonna be able to afford all of it anyway.
okay.
So what if the plans we need to do Lone Tree, then we pay for that to get that bid packet to send out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand, I have to ask him if he'll do that, because he's already prepared all of it, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
We told him to do the whole entire neighborhood, and
but I'm sure it's sectioned out. I mean, it's all soft copied. If you wanted to just do that and say, here's what it is for this one, it's gonna be the same packet for the same densities and everything else for those roads and 4-inch asphalt overlay
yeah,
and all that stuff. You know what I mean? And all he's gonna do is put that with Lone Tree. Oak Tree, you keep saying it. Why do I keep saying it? Oak Tree. So he'll put that with that one. So we just paid him a percentage of $59,000 is the best he can do for the whole thing. Because that's not even the biggest road. But that's the worst one over there,
correct,
right?
yeah.
And then we go after the one in Lakewood Gardens, and then we go after one over in Lakeview. Make sense?
Pick the worst one.
Worst one on each of them.
Okay.
As long as we're not hurt by landing the equipment. I mean, if one bidder gets all three, then all we're doing is going from one side of the town to the other, and I don't think they're gonna charge us for that.
Yeah. Now as far as doing that, Lance, can I break it out, because this over in Harbor Grove is asphalt, these other ones are gonna be concrete and asphalt. With me having to send this out for bids, being over the $50,000, can I break it out and just go directly to a contractor on the concrete and asphalt and go direct and bid it for the Harbor Grove overlay, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, you can't, I mean, are they two distinguishable projects?
Yes.
Yeah, as long as you're not dividing out what should be a unified project
Okay.
for the purpose of getting that.
Okay. So we can go to Daniel's Construction, since he's obviously the cheapest on that.
Well, but we still
You
get
wanna
three,
go back out for bid,
yeah, we
right?
still get 3 bids on that over there too.
Oh, yeah,
What's
no,
that?
that's what I'm saying. Just do Daniel's, since it's a separate project, you know, they can do the
If he's the
concrete.
cheapest, if he's the cheapest over there, then
You
you'd
can
be
go out for bid on
Go
the
out for bid
farm.
on that one over
Yeah,
there.
it's over the bid.
And all we need is the plan packet from Half Associates for that particular road.
Correct. And we don't need no plans on
Is
it.
that, we don't have the funding right now, even if it comes in at $500,000 for Harbor Road, to do that, and then
Yeah.
still fix everything else too.
Who did Ronald Reagan?
Right.
Where it fails?
No. It was, two different people. Sunmount, Mike Rangus company did what's in front of Town Hall. When we widened Point Vista was, Ronald Reagan up there behind Walmart was,
That was an EDC project, wasn't
yeah, I don't remember the name of that contract.
Where did it fail?
Huh?
Where did is that the new contract
No,
that failed?
no.
Oh, the
It
original.
fell right there in front of the daycare, you remember, before we widened it out?
it? It's a big hole.
There's a big old,
Yeah.
what'd you do?
So that was part of the original.
Mm-hmm.
You don't remember who did that?
Oh, that was before my
Why
time.
did you want to use them again?
No, I want to make sure we don't. That's my whole point, is, we've got all these places that have failed. I want to make sure we don't use the same.
Well, but sometimes, Councilman Clark, it's not like they do bad work. If there was a compaction problem, or if there's something else that caused it,
I mean, you could have a water main break underneath there and
yeah.
that's a fail. I mean, there's,
Jeffrey, was that Daniels that did Royal Oaks and Red Oak?
correct.
Now, was it completely satisfied with that over there? Were you?
No.
Even though he's got a good price, that just didn't turn out the way. Who did that over there? Danielson Construction.
Daniel's Construction.
I hate to see us go with somebody we haven't been real happy with, just because they're the cheapest.
Why is Peachtree on there?
They don't do concrete. And I can ask them, they probably nothing, anything that small, but they will do Harbor Grove. They'll bid on Harbor Grove for sure. You could wait. Let me answer this, Lance, if we went out for bid on Harbor Grove and bid just the Harbor Grove, can you tie, if they're already here, can you tie the other small projects into that?
If it's a big requirement, yeah.
Yeah, if it's under 50,000,
If you hire them to do separate projects, yeah.
that might be an idea. Go out for bids on Oak Tree, hold on all these others, and let's see if that contractor comes in there to do harbor, will give you a better price to do those other repairs. And that's all that y'all.
So we drove that over there. Oak Tree was the worst. Right? Second was it Harbor Lake? Pretty much on the sides, it was kind of bowing over and everything,
Yeah,
somewhat.
I would say.
Straight lane's the biggest. There was less density of people at the end of Harbor Lake, right? Because that goes over by the core, and it runs east-west.
I do Oak Tree to Straight, and then, either Harbor to Straight or Hickory to Straight. That would be, I'd probably go do 1, 2, 3 that one.
Discussion from council, how we want to do this?
I think you obviously have to take what we've all talked about as a priority, as far as which ones are the worst. And then obviously Oak Tree probably the worst, and then if you have Lakeview and or across the highway as well, a street that we need to do. I think if we can bid them all out, let's bid them all out. And go back from there, but we really can't do it without numbers, so. I mean, how are we gonna do it legally, bidding it out?
Yeah, but we can put a ceiling amount on those over there, since we've already got those bids.
And you got square footage price.
Right. And then all we gotta do is just put
Over 50,000.
50,000 bid to the other. But you can make a call to Brian, or I can make a call to Brian about that 59,000. It seems seems like a lot, you know, and just for those bid packets, for stuff they've already designed. Because we pay them by the hour for the other stuff. Okay, is that how we want to do it then? Lance, you okay with that? So if we take the second lowest bid for Lakewood Gardens, which was,
Now, this is under the big requirements, I mean,
Everything but the harbor growth.
right,
correct. So you're talking about back on 9 now?
yes.
So when you say bid, that's something you didn't necessarily have to bid, but you did.
Correct.
But the
I
second
can
one,
one directly to a contractor.
I'm sorry,
we got 3 bids.
they're all under 50,000.
Right.
I mean, you didn't have to bid that.
So I can one directly to a contractor.
What are we looking at, timeframe wise, as far as generating additional revenue?
Bids on next year for the road tax money.
So it's gonna be a full year?
We just have the 88,000 until.
But one thing I could do is go back and speak with Carl too, to see what money, you know, since we did the road maintenance tax, there may be excess that's in the reserve funds. I could go back and do a history of that.
Well, and, you know, based on these recommendations back in January, you know, we've got seven and a half months of reserve. We've got funds if we wanted to spend another 100, 150,000, 200,000 easily to go into roads with that money. And still keep the 332 sitting over here for the expansion of Turbeville.
I'm just worried when you start breaking it up like that. You know, you did this, but you didn't do that, you did that, you didn't do this. It kind of creates a quandary. And that's why I wonder about generation of future revenue, because you can always say, well, it's on the docket for.
discussion? Oh, y'all looking at it over there, Jeff?
I was trying to see if QuickBooks was on, at one point, QuickBooks was on my computer where I could do a quick
Right.
history of it to see exactly how much funds that have to be dedicated for street maintenance. That the taxes that we've collected over the years.
Well, I mean, if we burn up the, when do we get that second payment of that road tax?
Well, we get it monthly.
Oh, okay,
It's sales tax, it's monthly,
so how much money's in there right now?
90,000.
90,000.
And we've spent 90. Go back here.
How much out of that 330 did y'all have allocated for Tuberville? All of it?
Because we're talking about, once we get done with the growth down here at the east side of Turbeville, that's gonna come up to, just that area right there. And we wanted to do up here in front of Verdicks and Renee East to Ronald Reagan, because we already have the easement.
Yeah.
And then from there, would be going from Ronald Reagan west
To tie into the new.
to tie into the other up there. So we still need that segment back over here.
We're anticipating 180,000 on sales tax, but we know that sales tax has come, you know,
Increase, yeah.
it has increased. And we've collected 94,000 to this point, and we've spent 92,000 for this year.
Right. Well, I mean, depending on everybody else's country, I'm okay with taking 200,000 out of the general fund and putting it towards the roads.
Let me ask you this, so the rest of the money you're talking about, the next 90,000 is up to September? So we could almost forecast at least 90,000 more in there.
Right.
And then instead of taking 200, you take 110?
No.
Am I wrong on the number?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean, just to get
I'm
it
okay
done,
with that.
just to get it done, it's gonna come
I
back.
mean, I guess it's.
50%'s gonna come back, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you're saying, so just reimburse it back into that.
We just put
As
it
long
back
as
in.
it's reimbursed, I guess.
Right, and, you know,
Okay.
but to get it done, because it's, you know, what's the biggest factor for a lot of citizens is roads. You know what I mean? We got the money.
Those are, yes, I mean, roads for a lot of people.
And,
Right.
and speaking on the concrete roads, the longer, just like I said before, the longer you, especially that one on Deer Path, I mean, there's probably an 1.5 inch separation on those panels.
Right.
It's gonna get to a point where I'm gonna have to block that section off.
Oh, yeah, take the whole thing out, the concrete, salt and everything.
Correct.
Get there.
You know, and it's all dialed together, so you could potentially create a failure back further when it's pulling on those little panels, so it could not affect on it. I mean, that's just nature of the beast.
Christie, if you'd verify with Carl that we can't do that, you can reimburse the general fund. You're talking about spending it out of the general fund, and then using the road tax money to reimburse the general.
Well, even if we didn't reimburse it,
You still got it in there.
we still have it in there for the next segment of roads that we want to do. So it wouldn't be in there, but with the increase in sales tax we've been seeing, we'd be almost there come September, just for what we're seeing here lately. I mean, we've been ahead, what, an average of 15,000 a month so far?
And those funds, the street maintenance fund, it's within the reserve funds that the mayor's talking about. The unrestricted reserve funds is what he's talking about, not the general fund.
Right. You all right with that, Lance?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure when we do our audit from an accounting perspective that that's properly accounted for.
Gotcha. Okay, so if we want to take $200,000, do Lakewood, bids are going to be under 50 over there, we already know. If we decide to go and take the second lowest bid, and then go to Lakeview to fix that, and then an allocation of funds to fix Deer Path to prevent future whole block coming out of there, and then tackle the Oak Tree, and one other one I think we could do over in Harbor Road as well with that money. I think with 100, we can almost knock out everything on the east side. That leaves us 100 for the west side. Well, sorry, we still got Lakeview on the west side.
Are you not taking into account
What?
the road bond money? There's 300 in that, right?
He said that's for
Oh, I like it.
Turbeville.
Just kind of keeping it,
That's
yeah, right there for Turbeville. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have a question on that.
What's that?
Is it an internal road?
But that was determined, it was half and half,
Which one?
Turbeville.
you going from Ronald Reagan this way, or if you're doing this over here? I mean, it doesn't,
Well, I just, okay, that's fine.
I mean, you look at the preliminary cost, and Oak Tree, 72,200. And then you could go to Melody, which is 39,700.
that's cost?
This is his projected cost. So you're at 115, is that right? And how much you say for Harbor, you want to allocate for Harbor?
100,
100.
120? That'd leave us enough to do the rest of the project.
Say 110, you could probably pull 2 roads out there for 110. And it could come back less than that. This is just his projected cost.
I'm fine.
Lance, we gotta do both of these separately on D8, is that right? D8, D9. So could we approve $100,000 for each one? But yet there'll be separate bids for each contractor? Will we approve the overall amount for that bid, for that motion there? Not to exceed 100,000, does that make sense?
I understand that under D9, but how does that, you're approving an engineering contract on D8. Or that's what you have for 59,000.
Yeah, I really don't want to do that tonight, until we talk to them.
On D9, I think you could just delegate to the town manager the authority to enter into road repair agreements in this direction.
Okay.
That's presented all. It's presented.
D9, yeah. I'd really like to have some more discussion with Half Associates on D8, even if it takes us another 20 days to come back, because that's just a lot of money.
So I'm meeting's in 3 weeks.
So 21 days?
Well, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, on D9, the additional, do you just want to wait and bring that back another time, bid, or do you want to time the new ones? Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, start with D9 then. Make a motion for that. See the motion?
I think that was, where you were thinking about going, was delegating to the town manager the authority to enter into road repair agreements in compliance with the bidding statutes.
Okay.
So moved.
Councilman Clark's made a motion. Councilman Kenny seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now going back to D8, we'll just, I don't say table, but we're going to take that. No action on that. Okay, Jeff, you got that? How we want to go about that? Item D10, discussion regarding subject for newsletter articles.
And we're due May 14th.
May 14th, okay. Well, I know one we can do, and Jeffrey, you can do this, once we know who's going to be doing the bids and where, we need to put an article in there, what's going
Okay.
on. So everybody know what it is.
There will be an article in there on the new dock and all that stuff out of Sycamore bid, because I know that Porter told me they're working on an article for the new dock.
Is it done? Is it done?
It's finished.
Oh,
And we'll have the awards that were presented tonight, that'll be in there.
That's right. That'll take up a while. Anything else?
should we have something about the Goldfield property and the head? Okay, put something together about that. Anything else?
Pretty packed in his letter.
Okay, I don't think we're going to need to have an executive session tonight. Unless somebody needs to discuss any of that. Anyone, Lance, you recommend?
No, if we don't need to have it, I'd rather not.
Yeah, I think we're fine on that. We're making headway on that. We should have something signed tomorrow. So,
Is that the deadline?
all right. Motion for adjournment.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Councilman Osmer made a motion.
Second?
Councilman Clee second.
Second, third, fourth, all good.
Thank you.